Spot your piece of it.
Okay, we are live. This is Senate Institutions. Today is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. And today we have first the Vermont Fairs, then we'll have the Department of Corrections, and then we will talk about H50. So we're starting with the fair, we're starting with Fun Park. And we will identify ourselves, and then you can identify yourself and begin. So I'm Wendy Harrison. I'm a senator from Windham, which is southeast Vermont.
And I'm Rob Plunkett, senator from Bennington.
Senator Joe Major from Windsor.
Senator Russ Ingles from Essex District.
And Senator John Benson from the Orange District.
Thank you very much. My name is Jackie Polson. Thank you very much for making the time to see us today. This is our regular advocacy day at the State House. I serve as the lobbyist for the fairs and also as the secretary of the board. And we are probably one of the only groups that are coming in here today not asking for any more money.
Oh my goodness.
Not till next year. We're laying the groundwork. So we have a group of fairs of all shapes and sizes and kinds. They're going to tell you a little bit about what they do and how they do it. They're going to tell you how old they are. Several of them are also involved in the 3-acre rule, and they will identify themselves as such when they come up here. I know a couple of you have already heard some of this, so they've been told to say something different to see if we can catch you off guard. The other thing I do have to say is we have an economic survey which we've handed out, and there is a huge misspelling right in the middle, which would require you to read it and find it, and that's the only reason I did it. No, I really screwed it up. And I'm admitting that. But so it gives you a little bit of information. I think one of the things we've been asked, particularly in the House Ag Committee, what is your economic impact to the state of Vermont? And it's over $9 million for all the fairs that they're bringing into the community and putting back out into the community. So it's quite an economic driver. And if you think that the capital grants are $300,000 and the stipends are $110,000, it's quite a bang for the buck. So we all are very grateful for the time and for the funding, and I will let folks start, and I'm going to introduce Chris Vance from Caledonia Fair first. He goes first, and we're told not to talk a lot.
We have time.
Chris Vance with Caledonia County Fair. I apologize for those that have already heard my little spiel. I'll try to change it up just a smidge. Again, on behalf of Caledonia County Fair and Vermont Fair Association, just want to again thank you and kind of, just speak to a couple of the things that we get and what we use it for. The first is the stipend money that comes across. We get how much? $12,000 to $15,000, dollars of stipend money, which goes towards paying premiums. In Caledonia County Fair's, situation, last year we paid out $71,000 in premiums, and that's really to encourage, people to participate, be able to participate. Obviously, it doesn't cover costs, but it's a little something. So that stipend money is great. The bigger thing that's near and dear to my heart is the capital grant program, and I think that has been instrumental. I shared with the committee, but I'll share it with you. This is the Caledonia record from 1993, when Caledonia County Fair's grandstand burned to the ground due to arson. And all I would tell you is that in that time, we were basically on the verge of bankruptcy. We had no midway, we had no grandstand. And our fairgrounds was in very bad condition. So, it was because of the state and because of the capital grant program that I would tell you that our fairgrounds has transformed since 1993 into what I would say, and again, I'm biased, I would say is probably one of the nicer fairs in the state. That's just me.
They all say that.
Exactly. And they all,
That's true.
So,
You
but
got a
again,
lot of side eyes.
I know, I love that.
You're saying.
But again, the capital grant money, as we talked about, the importance of it is really getting all the fairs to really be very proactive at coming up with a project to improve, infrastructure in some way, shape, or form. And if it wasn't for that program, I think there's a lot of us or a lot, that would just maybe not do anything, and that would lead towards going out of business. So I think that money is, as I said, seeding us in a project that we're then able to take that and go out to the community. So again, the last couple of years, we were able to work to finish up really our cattle department, which has, really been transformative. And the fact that, we've been able to pull big shows out of other states. And we've now got one of the largest show rings in New England with Lawrence Arena, where we added to it. But I shared with the other group earlier that the Lawrence Arena, which was a capital grant project in 2002, cost us $56,000. The 14-foot extension on each side of the existing building last year cost us $120,000. So again, everything's gone up, but that capital grant money is extremely important. The last thing that I'll share, and I promise you don't need to stand, things happening is that in this coming spring, we will erect a weather monitoring station in conjunction with the University of Vermont. They reached out to us early last year and basically spoke to the need of something on that part of the state. As many of you are aware, we were hit extremely hard with severe flooding. And what was unbeknownst to us is that because of the mountainous terrain, there was no real way for people to see what was going on in terms of river depths and things like that over in that neck of the woods. And UVM just said, would you guys give any consideration to allowing us to put up this 30-foot weather monitoring station? And again, our board agreed unanimously to do that free of charge. And so again, we went through all the permitting and got town approval so that in the spring, that structure will be erected. And hopefully in the future, we'll have better lines of what's going on in the area. So that's all I have.
That's terrific. Thank you. Next, Scott Bushy.
Welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to have some time to speak with you. I am Scott Bushy. I represent Bonneville Fair. It is the smallest fair, I think, of the group. Very much my sentiments are the same as what you'll hear from the rest of them is the price of keeping up with your capital projects. It's our first year, we created a 5-year plan, our very first year, in order to get with proper electric requirements and code. We spent over $85,000 just in electrical upgrades, which without this state-run grant stipend, we would be out of business. There's just no way we can operate. We've used, I think this year, we're going to use the money to refab one of our oldest buildings, the Quilt Hall. In our fair, this will be our 228th year. So we're using to fix that because it isn't, everybody gets in disrepair. It's kind of the nature of the business. But again, too, with us, we've had to raise our premiums, what we pay out for prize money, for what have you, to draw people in, to draw participants in. Really, then that draws in your crowd. Last year, we were able to, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the band The Samples, but they were a local band that started in Manchester and then went big, and we were able to get them to come back on Friday nights to our fair, which was huge. I mean, you couldn't even move in that tiny little village that night. And but that's what your money does for us, is that it allows us to redirect some of the funds that we make into other areas to then bring back people in, which I can tell you that we actually had to have 2 ATM machines put in on the fairgrounds because every year we wipe out the bank's ATM and the independent ATM that's there. That's how much money is spent in that short amount of time. And as with my other folks here, yeah, absolutely. Without your support, without the capital grant stipend, this tradition would fold up. It would go away. There's no way we would ever be able to continue. So as always, every year I've been here, I just really want to say thank you. Thank you very much for supporting us. It really is the biggest help we have.
And you're welcome. And there's no intention of stopping anything. So just so you know.
Yep.
Tell them how much acreage you have.
So we operate on 9 acres, 3 of it's parking.
Okay.
So we use
Alright.
6 acres. I don't know, being from Bennington, I don't know if you've ever been.
It did not go well.
Okay, so I mean, it's the space that we run on
Yeah.
with the amount of
Tiny.
stuff that we have and stuff in there. It's kind of mind boggling to when you actually see it set up and it's like, oh my God, how do I get from here to there? So yeah, we try to jam in as much as we can, because and then other times of the year, we do other things, like we put on 4 concerts. Free to anybody that comes, but we have vendors that sell food, crafts, whatever, they pay for a spot. But that's our give back to the community. We let the Floodbrook School, they do a dance recital in the spring. We don't charge them for it. And then we have other things. Peru Fair, well, Peru Gathering is now defunct. So they've reached out to use our grounds possibly to do something there. And we have a country jamboree thing that's gonna happen. And so you try to use your grounds in other manners to also create a revenue stream but then you find like you have to put more time in, you're all volunteers, you have to make it look better, and we are 100% volunteers, and they just do it because they love it.
And the community is better off for it. So
Yeah, I mean, most of them would say that as long as you don't say that I'm the president or that you know me.
that's
I always aim for the town of Winhall, and I've made my fair share of enemies. Thank you
Well,
so
thank you for
much
being
for
here.
your continued
Yes.
support. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
And if you haven't been to their fair, their quilt barn, which is the one that they're redoing this year, is amazing.
We had 300 quotes in it this past year,
wow.
and it's not big.
Wow.
It's maybe twice the size of this one.
And God forbid, if you have to run the door there and some old lady comes up to you and says, do you know what a pineapple stitch is? You had better have an answer.
That's great.
It's a very sweet little fair. So the next 3 fairs are going to be the ones that are involved with the 3 acre situation.
Okay,
So,
that's helpful.
Tim?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been talking a lot about
Tim Shea, Champlain Expo, a beer 102 years old compared to our friends in Bonneville, but just echo the comments of those before me and thank you for the support. We use the capital grant for not too exciting projects, but crucial to our operation, water infrastructure, electric infrastructure, HVAC units. What that has allowed us to do is free up other resources that may not qualify for the capital grant. We had a barn that was probably 50, 60 years old, falling apart. We thought it was a $30,000 to $40,000 repair. It turned out to be $150,000. But we need that barn for the fair and also when we host our 4-H events throughout the summer. So that money is tremendously helpful to our operation, as are the stipend grants that we use for premiums as well. The role fairgrounds plays in communities it's well beyond the events that we host. We haven't hosted public safety training events. That we don't charge state police or local police. We're hosting the Essex Fire Department reach out to us. I guess fire training sites in Vermont are hard to come by. We have a spot in our land we really can't use for much, and then our 3 acre treatment, but there's another section out there, and we're stacking, or the Essex Fire Department stacked 3 Conex boxes where they're going to do fire training for not only Essex Junction but surrounding fire departments in northwestern Vermont. So we're happy to provide that space free of charge. We are the proud owner of 33 impervious acres, and we received the grant last year and cannot thank you enough. That cloud was hanging over our head for years, and we engineered it, and we're going to come in just under the $550,000. We have about 2/3 of the work we've done so far. The Agency of Ag has been phenomenal to work with to stand up these grants. I think we were one of the first to go through the process, so we all kind of found our way, but it's been very good to work with. And we look to wrap that up probably in a June timeframe, of this year.
That's great. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So if you can give us like if you can provide plans or specs or it'd be helpful
Yeah.
because we'll be talking to other folks too. I mean, not bears because we have all you now,
Yes.
but there are other the 3-acre rule is a big deal.
Certainly.
And so you're an early participant.
Yeah.
And so it would be good for others to learn from what you did.
By all means, I had to share our engineering work that we did. We were somewhat fortunate. We had an existing stormwater infrastructure, so we would expand the pond as opposed to and really expand the pond to and add some catch basins. So we're fortunate there, but I'm more than happy to share our engineering work that we did. Like I said, we're wrapping up this June or so before fair time there and put it behind us.
Thank you.
And
Happy.
33 acres out of how many total?
140 acres. But
Okay.
again, we were fortunate that we had the space to expand our pond. And as a part of the grounds, we really don't use for anything other than the or additional parking for the fair, which we can work around it. Happy to answer any other questions that folks.
How many days a year are you up at the facility now?
We're open 365 days. There's events there. I bet better part of 300.
Yeah.
And when I say events, if you're familiar with the facility, the two big buildings, when they were built in 2000, 2005, they were built with youth soccer in mind. So when I say event, tonight there's probably 300 kids playing soccer indoors. Beautiful. So when we don't have an event going on, we repurpose it for youth soccer. And it's a great partnership because the soccer programs found that for them to go out and build a facility and use it on their own, the math doesn't work, where they could lease space for us. Again, when they're not using it for soccer, we can use it for fair and other events.
It's a great idea. Right, especially the seasons complement each other.
They do very well.
Yeah.
And he's going to be hosting the farm show next year.
Farm show's coming back. Yeah, spring of 2027 is a different format, but we're been working with them and a great group of people doing the work on it, and we look forward to welcoming them back next year.
Terrific.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy?
I'm Cindy Cahart from the Addison Fair. Thank you again for the stipend and the capital grants. And as I said this morning, I can't even thank you enough for the 3-acre coming through for us and making it less stressful. We figured it out, and teamwork, and it's a whole different demeanor among the board members when we don't have that moving over our head, because it was very stressful. So some of our capital things this year, well, what our 5-year plan is to get rid of the use of big tents. We would like to have existing buildings, because not a year ago, we had 3 tents that got destroyed in wind. They're expensive to buy, repair, and hard to get. So that is our goal. That's our 5-year plan, which we did incorporate into our 3-acre rule. Because I kept advocating they kept saying it was a snapshot in time. And I said that we can't afford to re-permit, re-engineer every time we do something. And so we had a meeting with Selena Rooney and the Department of Ag. I can't tell you all the people that were there, and then our engineer and a couple of board members, so that everybody could ask every question. And that would be my advice to anybody that's doing the 3-acre rule. Don't do the ask her and she asks him and then they relay the message back. If you're all together and can ask all the questions.
Did you get an MOU with them on that? Or how did they do that? Just through?
Selena did it for me.
Okay. I
Selena.
was thinking if you had a memorandum
Yeah.
of understanding or agreement, if you could share that
Okay.
with us, that would be great, because then we could share it with others if
Yeah.
they run into the same situation.
It's worth its weight in gold. I mean, I felt like when we did our engineer the first time, because he re-engineered it. I don't know that they were as familiar with the whole thing. And he came into the fairgrounds and like, oh, we gotta do this, we gotta do this. And we were all just like, struck blindsided. And then as we talked, we were like, oh, we have this spot. Why can't we use this spot? And then we went back to him. And that's where we had the water from the fairgrounds flowing anyways. And he said, well, you can. We should have done this the first time. But so that's how it's ended out. So we did have to re-permit and re-engineer the whole thing. But it's gonna work out. But that Zoom meeting with everybody together was worth its weight in gold because everybody was on the same page. Everybody had different questions. And yeah, it sealed the deal for us.
That's great. And especially with a volunteer organization, that can be really hard to do.
Yeah.
And a new program. So
Yes.
good for you.
Yes, I just can't even tell you, our meetings are just such a different meeting now that we don't have that stress of what are we gonna do?
So it's all finished. Like
We haven't-
it's implemented or it's just
No,
permitted.
It's all ready to go.
Okay.
It depending on the weather, we'll either do it this spring before the fair or after the fair, depending on the weather.
Yeah, and if you don't mind sharing your plans with
Sure.
us too, you
Sure.
can send us a copy, that would
Sure.
be great.
There any other,
So what is your future? What's your future plans?
what's our future?
Oh, you actually
Yeah.
just said your
Yeah,
5-year plan to get rid of the tent.
Right. Right.
Yeah, those
That
are-
is our ultimate goal is to make, and then, and when they asked me about the 3-acre rule, well, how do you know where you're gonna put the buildings? And I said, well, if you look at the fairgrounds, there's only so much space where we put these tents,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure we can't grow new land, so that's where they're gonna be, so.
That
is-
was a glitch that they discovered, that permit is a snapshot in time, and we said to them, fairs have to expand, that's what they use the capital grants for, and originally they told them no. That what you're applying for now, if you build something that's more impervious surface, so you have to apply again, which is, it's very frustrating to
Right.
have to be told that because it doesn't give you the opportunity to plan ahead. So they had a really good experience because it all worked out, but it's also something that others that are doing this should question when they're going in for that plan. If they have an idea that they're going to put up another building, make it known immediately because otherwise it will be a snapshot in time and they won't be allowed to do it.
But yeah, that's really important. So then your permit includes the buildings that are not yet there.
Well,
See,
We're
memorandum
over-
of understand, right?
Right.
Agreement, that's the key.
Okay.
Because
Right.
that sets out a decision making and
Right.
agreement. And so if you have another facility, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you go
Right.
here, we're gonna
Right.
follow this
Right.
procedure.
if we have, we are gonna build it bigger than we technically need it right now, so they said that we could just kind of say. We've built this, we have enough room,
Yeah.
so, I don't know, I think we have to re-permit it or, do something, but at least we aren't gonna have to
Amend the
rebuild,
permit.
right, we aren't gonna have to
Have
rebuild,
a roadmap of how to
Yes.
get there.
yes. Yes,
That's great. Good.
so thank you, I said it before, I can't thank you guys enough, it makes this volunteer position way more fun.
Good. Thank you for all you do.
Is this one of the places you went to milk the cow, Senator?
Yes,
Yes, and yes.
yes,
How'd it go?
yes.
And the last fair we have represented is Vermont State Fair. They're kind of the poster child.
For the-
Rule. And as Cindy was talking about the weight that was lifted off of her board, Rick and I are looking at each other going, boy, I wish that would happen.
Rick McCurrier from Vermont State Fair. And again, I'd like to thank you guys for the stipend and the grant. It makes a big difference to us. We're pretty fortunate that we have quite a few talented people that will donate. So a lot of times we're using the the grant money for materials almost sometimes, and we've got the people that will do the work, either volunteer or you know, have machines or whatever. The one thing that's in the grant for this year is we have to put some railings on our grandstand, safety issue. We've done a tremendous amount with the city with water as far as upgrading. We've got an almost complete loop system there now so that we can feed if we have a problem in one area, we can feed from another. We're very fortunate. We have a couple of people on the board that actually work for the city. And that's at times that has been a little bit of a problem because the fair and the city haven't always got along perfectly. And that's actually not a problem now, so it's a lot easier to get that done. But as we were saying, on the 3 acres, well, we're about 60 acres with 17 acres of impervious. The problem with our fairgrounds is we're under not only a treat, but a capture and treat, because we have a brook going, a Peter Brook going right straight through our fairgrounds, and that's at our lowest point. So our engineering is, and it has changed a couple times, but we're still actually in the feasibility stage, whether we can actually capture and treat, because by capturing, everybody thinks capturing usually a pond, and then you let it settle out. And our only areas that we've worked at are in the wrong places, you know, they're uphill and they're this and they're that. So there are other options. One thing they talk about is like that's a term, an aeration chamber, but it's like an underground tank that would hold the water. And then we treat it and release it a certain amount of time. The problem with that is by the time you bury all that stuff, you might not be able to put rides on top of it. We'd be giving up too much of our land. You know, you may be able to park on it, maybe not, depending on, like I said, we got, I think the estimate is like 170,000 just for our engineering. And again, it's for feasibility. We're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Obviously we want to continue. We've got a real go-getter board that, you know, that's very positive, and I understand exactly. It would be wonderful if you could come down and tell me, yes, we could get rid of the acre rule. We could look at a lot of different stuff, but right now, that's our major problem, our major hang up. We're moving forward. We're doing well. Our Paranville's been doing well, so we got a extended contract with them, so we're in good shape that wise. Business wise, I think it's just a matter of we gotta get around this 3 acre thing.
Okay.
Questions I've tried to answer anything I can, some I can, some I can't, but
And you're in progress.
yes, it's actually our firm is backlogged enough that they have done a preliminary. And they are supposed to actually start on the engineering like within the next 2 or 3 months, so.
Okay, so it won't be this season, but you didn't have it last season.
No,
Okay.
like I say, we had the preliminary or preliminary feasibility, I should say, which, you know, they went in and studied where we could actually put any kind of capturing facility and how we would be able to get the water to it and some different things like that. But like I say, our big holdback is the brook. That's and we have the railroad track on one end of our fairgrounds and Route 7 on the other end of our fairgrounds, and the brook goes through a big box culvert at Route 7, and we have a 4-foot square culvert down on the end by the railroad tracks. And the problem there is if we get a lot of water, we get flooded. And it would be great to change all of these things, but they almost all have to go together to make everything happen. So we're just kind of working our way through it. And the state has been good helping. This lady has helped us more than anybody. So she has basically walked us through the whole process, I should say, between us and the state. So
Good.
They have 17 acres of impervious. Out of how many?
17 against 60.
Against 60. Yeah.
And we have had, they've had DEC down there.
We've had
Once.
two in-person meetings.
That's right. We tried to get another one and we couldn't get it in before winter. Because they discovered wetlands
Oh, gee.
on top of everything else. And the other concern is when we mentioned this to DEC, because they say, well, you can put this underground system in and then you can park on top of it. And the question was, what are they supposed to do for the year or two of construction? They lose access. They can't have a fair. They can't have any extra activities. I mean, it will put them out of business. And there was no response. I mean, and I know that often that I've never heard AOT pay compensation to anybody for construction issues. You know, you hear it in Burlington, that went on up there. You hear it everywhere. But they were kind of shocked when we said, what are they supposed to do for 1 or 2 years? Because the construction is when they're having the fair or anything else. So, and they would lose parking spaces. They could lose spaces for the amusement rides.
Well, and also the actual infrastructure of the fairgrounds with all the water lines, power lines, sewer lines. You know, we have 2 major city sewer lines go through our grounds. Yeah, it would be, and the other thing too is like, the stop and go procedure for a fair does not work because what happens is you stop for here, you lose your carnival. And that's probably one of the, I think everybody will share, that's one of the hardest things to keep in place is a carnival. And your vendors, you know, your vendors get used to doing a different circuit. And it took us, when we changed dates, it took us probably, 5 years to even begin to get our feet on the ground.
Yeah, 5 years we struggled, and then the 6th year we had like, oh, this might work.
Yeah.
And it's a slow building process.
And now we're getting back, because the problem is when you're down on vendors and you're down on a show, less people come, then those vendors talk to other vendors and, well, why would you want to go to Rutland? You know, so as it's getting better and everybody's starting to do better money wise again, we're gaining popularity, but it's gonna come uphill battle. Well, like I say, that's we're very happy, pleased with the support from the state. The big thing is gotta find a way around this 3 acre.
Okay.
And did you have an estimate of how much it was going to, have they said? It's like 2 million.
Well,
We
it's,
were
yeah,
over 3.6 million, last I heard.
well, yeah, it's been everywhere from, like she said, 2.7, 3.6, depends. Like I say, we're still even in the feasibility part, you know, I mean, because they haven't gone that far yet.
You said 170,000 for engineering.
Yeah.
So that's
And I'm
your
actually-
first hurdle.
And I'm actually
Yeah.
surprised that knowing this firm, even though I know they're good, there's a lot of work there for 170,000.
And their portion, the legislature granted them $2 million. So, Tim came in right on, and I think, Cindy came in under. Orleans is the other fair, and I think they're early in the process too, I believe. But so that leaves 100 out of 107 out of their 550,000. You take away 175,000. You know, what are you going to do with that?
Really glad you're working on this.
Well,
You've done a really good job of just letting us know, you know, the updates in the summer. I find that really helpful.
yes, thank you.
And the gravity situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm super happy for you guys it's working out, you know, but I mean, we're kind of in a hard spot.
Right. In many ways, I mean, you're physically in the
Right.
spot,
Yeah.
and yes. Yes.
and years ago, when Senator Flory was chair of this committee, we couldn't even get Rutland Fair to come in because they were having such challenges down there. And the first thing she'd say was, where's that Rutland Fair? Why aren't they coming in? And nobody wanted to come in because they couldn't explain what was happening. And they are, I mean, I love I call them my fairs. They're not, I don't do anything for any of them as far as on the ground, but they're all volunteers, and watching what these guys are going through is really disheartening. It really is, because they're, you know, there's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel for them. I just don't know what it is.
I get it. They've worked so hard over the past 10 years to get to where they
That's
are. It's a
right,
yeah.
phenomenal success story.
It is.
Phenomenal success story.
And then
Thank you.
just when you got there, you had the 3 acre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was, and to be honest, as their lobbyist, I let that get by me. Who knew? And then I found that 35-page list with 4 of them on it, and I went, this is incredible that they would pull these guys in. They were over 3 acres. And now, I mean, we talk a lot about it at our meetings because once that side of the state gets done, I've got 2 or 3 fairs on the other side where we're going to be looking at nitrogen and the same
Right.
problems. And they're kind of sitting there going, oh, please fix this before we get over to that side. So none of them are not going to be, all of them will be affected eventually. It just
Right.
depends on when.
Well, and partly why we got looked at too is, I know Thunder's mom says you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, but the city of Rutland didn't do too much to get started on this. They had some warning to actually live in the town. We did a few things in the town. When we had a really proactive road commissioner that really we did a couple things at the school, and we had a couple roads that we knew went into this brook that goes through the fairgrounds. So we did some things that's, just, it kind of put us in the turn, that, and so that's, I think, why we got leaned into that fast, but yeah,
Choices have consequences, right?
unfortunately.
All right, well, we should end on a high note. So I'm confident, or I hope, and it sounds like the systems are getting better at least. Because this is a new program for the state. But thank you for your perseverance, and we will be here, and you can contact me in the summer if you like.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you for the
We'd be
time.
glad to take any of you down to that fair and walk you
Yeah.
around,
Oh,
actually show you what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
But please go to any of the fairs.
It would be easy to see, and that's one thing that was really nice when we had that meeting, is we walked everybody through, and even the gentleman from V-Trans, we walked over and I says, we can't get something done with this culvert, it's really, all the rest of it may be kind of mute. And he says, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
The state just is gonna fix a bridge that they have to fix before they're gonna fix this culvert. I mean, I can understand that. Just don't put us out of business in the process.
Right. Right. All right. Thank you. Good luck.
Hey, Tim, before you work, is Don Luke still active at all?
He is a neighbor of ours,
Okay.
and we see him every once in a while now. He's a great guy. He's been
Worked with